From one Canadian terrorism funding scandal to another. UNRWA, the United Nations Refugee something something Association, we're giving $50 million more to the UNRWA Foundation. Now, here's why you should be pissed. I made a little video, we cut it out. We're going to do about 2 minutes. We're going to watch parts of an UNRWA documentary. I'll document it. It's kids talking about what they learn in UNRWA schools. So these are schools in the Palestinian territories. They're funded by the United Nations. We're going to watch this video on what they teach there, and then I'll tell you why UNRWA itself is an illegitimate concept and why, how much money we're giving, what we're paying for, and what we're getting. So can we put up the video? So here we are in a Palestinian school. There's teachers yelling, having the kids repeat, Palestine is Arab land from the river to the sea. Who is the wolf? The Jews. This is them teaching some of the kids. Now we're going to learn, like, they don't teach that Israel, they shockingly don't teach the two-state solution in the Palestinian textbooks, right? They teach only one-state solution. Now they do teach the kids, as you're going to see, that the only path to peace or whatever is through violent struggle and jihad and taking over Israel through war. And then the real disturbing part is we're just going to watch some clips of, they interviewed kids on the street, and here's more chanting in the classroom. So here's kids coming out of an UNRWA school and talking about what their teachers told them in UNRWA classrooms. And remember, this is what we're giving $50 million for. This is where your tax dollars are going. So we have to make war to prove that we are stronger than the Jews. Notice that she doesn't say Zionists. They just, in the Palestinian territories, you don't need to be coy about it. This is, again, in-school interviews with, we got to kill the Jews. I want to fight against the Jews. I want to defeat them in war. They teach us that Al-Aqsa and all of Palestine is ours. We're going to go into this Al-Aqsa thing. The Al-Aqsa Mosque, this is also the Temple Mount, Dome of the Rock. So we're going to, Jews lie, they say their temple is under the Al-Aqsa Mosque. I'll come back to this statement because it's really funny. It's a really funny statement. It shows a general lack of knowledge of Islam, too. They teach us that Zionists the enemy. Oh, this kid said Zionist. Good for him. Good for him. Although this kid doesn't turn out too good later. All right, they teach us Jews are terrorists and all that. They teach us all about the Jews. They teach us that they are bad people. They killed our young. Oh, the blood libel. Haven't seen that one in a while. Teach us Jews are fickle and bad people. Ooh, sounds like a labor conference. I'm ready to stab a Jew and drive a car over them. Charming, charming school things. I will fight. So you see why there's no, if there's a car, I'm going to ram it. We have to consistently stab them. This was shot at the stabbing Intifada before they realized the kite bombs were a thing. So this is a few years old. Their education has gone from stabbing to kite bombing. Right? It's just, like, look at the ages on these kids. I'm prepared to be a suicide bomber. With Allah's help, I will fight for ISIS, the Islamic State. Right? Can you imagine? Okay, we're paying $50 million to fund this program. Oh, look at that cute after-school outfit. Now let's watch a Palestinian school play. This is an UNRWA play. You might have seen this on Reddit, but this is at an UNRWA-funded school, right? They're pointing guns at the Jews. They're teaching kids to march like jihadists. Oh, isn't that cute? Isn't that cute? Jihad for you, jihad for me, jihad all day. Your tax dollars are going to fund that, UNRWA. So you might be outraged just over that. What? They're teaching the kids this and we're paying for it? But it's even more than that. Because the whole concept of UNRWA is a lie and a falsehood. The Palestinian refugees are not refugees, okay? Justin Trudeau loves maybe three things. Wasting taxpayer dollars, giving money to the UN, and fake refugees. UNRWA is all that. The Palestinians are the OG fake refugees of the world. Now that might seem insensitive for me to say, but let's consider something. Palestinian refugees, or Palestinians have been refugees since 1948. They're the only people ever in the history of the face of the earth that have had around 4 generations of refugees. And the reason why I call them fake refugees is if you look at the definition of UNRWA, there's a reason why there's a specific program designed for Palestinian refugees that does not help any other type of refugees. That's because the Palestinian refugees do not meet the qualifications of normal refugees, so they made up a new category just for Palestinian refugees. Yes, that's true. Usually refugees are people fleeing war or immediate danger to themselves or their family. That is not what a Palestinian refugee is. A Palestinian refugee is anyone who had a relative living within the territory of Israel from 1919 from 1947 or 48. So if you were there from the time of the Jewish settlement, if you had a great-grandfather who spent 2 years, if they spent 2 years in the land of Israel and then left for any reason, you count as a refugee. What? Yes. Really, that's what UNRWA's definition of Palestinian refugees are. That's why this problem will never be solved. How do we solve the Palestinian refugee crisis? Just put them under the same qualifications of every other refugee process. Boom, problem solved, rest refugees. So Palestinians have been based, I feel bad for them, especially the ones in Lebanon and Syria, because those Palestinians have literally been kept in refugee camps since 1948 and been used like zoo animals and kept in cages to be used as a political hammer against the Israelis whenever it's convenient. So let's break this down. Now, the mass settlement of Israel starts in the early 20th century from Europeans. Now, in the 1800s, there was a big push from the Sephardic Jews of the Middle East to go into Israel, so there was an infrastructure there. Cities like Jerusalem, Hebron, they were always majority Jewish. The main Jewish holy cities that now exist what you call the West Bank or Judea and Samaria, those have always been majority Jewish. But the settlement of the other lands started in the early 20th century. Now, most of modern-day Israel, about 80 to 90% of modern-day Israel, was uninhabited wasteland at the start of 1920. What happened is you had Jewish organizations starting to take European Jews and develop swamps into habitable land. If you look at a picture of, I should have brought this up, but just Google a picture of Tel Aviv 1909 and the start of Tel Aviv. It's literally a bunch of sand, and then it is what today. It was basically just made up from, that was most of Israel. So what happened is you had a system that was run under the Ottoman Empire of a feudal system where there's despotic Arab landlords, and they kind of owned it all, and you had roaming Bedouin tribes that no one really policed. So you had no police, you had a very poor economy, and a feudal system, so no one was able to make money. And then when the Jewish settlers started to come in, there started to be actual jobs and farming development. So a lot of Arabs started to immigrate to Jewish farms, and they were employed there and got a lot of work on Jewish farms. Then the war happened and all that. But the reason they went there is because it was much better paying than anywhere else in the region. So if your great-great-grandfather was a migrant worker on a Jewish farm, and let's say in 1924 he went to go work on a Jewish farm, made a living, and then in 1927 he moved back to northern Syria to be with his family, and then la-di-da. His great-grandson, by UNRWA definitions, is a Palestinian refugee. Okay? It's bullshit. Okay? It's an absolute bullshit term, the Palestinian refugees. It's not that there aren't problems. It's not that there isn't a war going on. It's not that they're legit, I'm just saying that. UNRWA's definition of a refugee is asinine and contributing to the problem. So UNRWA is an organization that has been constantly linked to Hamas. Hamas members work at UNRWA schools. They are part of the curriculum, and we're giving $50 million extra there. So this $50 million is on top of the $20 million baseline funding that we give to UNRWA every year. In March of this year, we gave $10 million to UNRWA in emergency funding because we really needed those kids to learn about jihad right now. Then, right now, Justin Trudeau is giving another $50 million to UNRWA to assumably teach about jihad and all that. What in the name of Nikki Haley is going on here? It is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, so this is the problem. This money is going to go to terrorism. Terror tunnels, these are tunnels from the Gaza into Israel, have been found under UNRWA schools. UN officials have been basically implicated in terrorism plots. This is not only a waste of money, but it's more funding of terrorism, which we know that Justin Trudeau loves, right? What do we say? Giving money to terrorists, wasting taxpayer dollars, and fake refugees. And this hits the Justin Trudeau trifecta of all that. And if you know me, I oppose this because I hate three things: funding terrorism, stupid taxes, and left-handed power hitters who can beat this shift. I mean, it's ridiculous. You're left-handed, which means there's no one in between third and second base, and you can't just flick your wrist and get it over. That's an easy single. It's absolutely ridiculous. I can't watch baseball anymore because of how silly it is. Moving on.